Hi guys, welcome back to Explore with Nicki B. I am your host, Nicki B. Thank you so much for tuning back in. We are on episode 2. I do want to thank everybody who came and watched episode 1 and shared those emotional times with me, cried with me even. I had a couple people reach out to me and let me know that they were crying with me. So I really appreciate all the positive feedback and support from my first episode. So thanks for tuning back in. As you know from episode 1, we were going over my childhood trauma, things that I've been through. Definitely was a tearjerker for sure. I'm hoping the rest of the story doesn't have too many tears. If any, we'll see. I'll try to keep it together this time. Hey, but if it happens, right? I'm just rolling with the punches. So I'm not going to stop recording. So whatever happens. I just want to be real, upfront, and honest with you guys and just be myself, right? So we're in this together. Tea time the whole time, like I said. We got Grandma of the Year here. As you guys know from my intro episode, my daughter is having my first grandson, so he is going to be here August 8th, due to be here. So I do want to give a little public service announcement. So I know in my intro I joked about taking applications for a new husband. Yes, I technically am single right now, going through a divorce, but honestly, I'm not looking for any of that right now at all. So although I appreciate all of the messages that I'm getting from everybody, I'm getting at least 10 to 15 Facebook friend requests every single day. I'm getting a lot of messages, really sweet comments. I appreciate everybody's comments and saying how beautiful I am, and they love my smile and my eyes and all of these nice things, and they want to take me out to coffee and they want to take me out to dinner and all of these things. I'm honestly not ready for any of that. So I am literally just barely getting through my divorce, and as you'll find out from my story as I go, it is quite traumatizing what I've been through, and you guys will understand why I am where I am, but I'm not looking for that at all right now. I honestly love being by myself right now. I love being alone. I love my healing journey that I'm on. I am focusing on myself and my kids and my work and all of you guys now with my channel. If it's about making money, I'm all ears. Reach out to me. Let's go. If you work at a car dealership and you guys want to connect and you need my products and you want me there, to help you guys make more money at your car dealership, I'm all on board. If you guys want to come travel with me and do the travel thing and have fun and go on trips and make money that way, like, I'm all on board. I'm all about making money right now, taking care of my children, my grandson, soon to be healing. I'm on that journey. I am not trying to date anybody right now, meet anybody, talk to anybody. It's exhausting. Like, I'm so busy as it is. So again, I appreciate all of the people reaching out and trying, and I appreciate the effort for sure, but I'm not looking for that. So if I don't reply back to you, that is why. But I do appreciate the effort for sure. Not there yet. Maybe one day. You never know. But anyways, that was my little public service announcement. So getting back into where we left off. So we went over my childhood. We got into high school. One thing that we didn't discuss was in middle school, there was a time, we did live in Davis, and there was a time that my mom had moved to Grass Valley with a different boyfriend at the time. So we did move up there for a period of maybe 3 months or so. That relationship didn't work out, and we actually at one point ended up homeless. So we were living out of my mom's car, and I remembered having to do homework at the benches there under the light, so we're at the campgrounds in her car, living in a car in the campgrounds and doing our homework under the light. Me and my sister had to experience that. So there was a time we were homeless as well and had to deal with that. Another thing that I need to correct that I had said previously, when I was mentioning the trauma my mom had been through, I said she went and told her grandma, and it's my grandma she told, not her grandma. So I just wanted to correct that, because again, I don't like misspeaking or saying anything incorrect. So if I ever say anything wrong, I will come back and correct it. But she went and told her mom, and her mom didn't believe her and look after her and protect her. And her mom is my grandma. So that's where that mess up happened. So just so you know. Yeah, so anyways, that was one little piece that I had left out. We were homeless at one point. But then again, my mom had a different boyfriend that she met when we moved out to Granite Bay, when I went to Granite Bay High School. So all of that drama had happened in high school, where I had to go into the group home and all of that. Got out, lived with a different friend. Then she moved to the next boyfriend's house, where she got pregnant with my little sister. So when my sister was born, Carissa, I was 16 years old at the time. So I remember when I turned 16, on my 16th birthday, I actually got all dressed up and I went to Number One Gelatos in Granite Bay. If you're familiar with it, great ice cream. They don't exist anymore, but it was a great place. They had sandwiches, ice cream, and coffee. So that was my first job. I went on my 16th birthday because I could not wait to work. So I got that job. They hired me on the spot. And I started working there. And then right next door to them, there was an Allstate insurance agency who was paying for appointment setters. And they were paying good money. So that was my second job I got. So I had 2 jobs. Then I got a third job down the street from there. I would walk to a daycare, and I would work part-time at a daycare as well. So I had 3 jobs at one point, working. And again, like I said, I took off some time from school and I went on independent studies. So that way I could work all the jobs and then help pay bills and take care of things, groceries and utilities and things like that. I remember always loving God, always, since I was little. So I remember being baptized when I was younger. It wasn't the greatest experience because when I was baptized, I want to say I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old, between 6 and 8, something like that. And when I got baptized at the church, it was at my abuser's church, and he was there. And I remember getting wet and having to go into this room to change out of my wet clothes. And I remember him doing weird, inappropriate things during that time. So I always didn't have a great memory and experience of getting baptized because of that trauma that had happened. So I've always in my head wanted to maybe go get baptized again one day. So I always thought I would do it maybe when my kids wanted to all do it. I would do it with them and maybe make it special. So that's still something maybe on the to-do list that I would like to do one day. But again, I've always loved God and just always felt like connected to God. And I felt like he was leading me with my life. And in high school, I remember Granite Bay High School, that is where Bayside first started. So they started at my high school there, and I started going to the church, and I loved it. I loved going to Bayside. I loved everything about it. I loved the feeling I got going to church and the music and just learning about God and reading the Bible and connecting and the friendships that you gained there. And it felt like I had a family. Like it felt so good to have a family. Finally, I felt like I had a family, right? And so I always would try to go as often as I could to the youth group and to the church service on Sundays. My mom wouldn't take me sometimes. I couldn't get a ride. So I would like beg for rides and call different people to try to get rides to church. I remember walking even one time so I could get there. And I would go to the Mexicali trip. So where you would go to Mexico. That was the first time I flew on an airplane. I was so excited to stay out there and help build the houses for the people that were less fortunate out there, and just preaching about Jesus to the kids there. And it was such a great experience when I was younger. I definitely recommend that trip to anybody that has kids. Definitely send them to Mexicali if you can. It's a great, great, great mission trip. So I went to that trip when I was younger and had a great experience. I was also really involved with Woodleaf. Or Woodleaf was the camp we went to, sorry. Young Life. I was involved with Young Life. And so we went to Woodleaf camp a couple times. That was really fun. I loved the Young Life youth group. So I would always go to that with my friends. And again, it just felt like a safe place to have community and be around people that were like-minded and good and going towards God. So I connected with them. Obviously, there's certain friend groups that when you're in high school growing up, you get in certain friend groups that maybe are doing things that are not so great, right? So they have another influence on you. So there were some not so great people also that had a different influence, whether they were doing drugs or alcohol or different things like that. But I never really liked any of that stuff, but there was times where I felt like I had to protect my little sister. So I would go to the parties and go hang out there to look after her and make sure she was okay. So I was involved, but not really involved kind of situation. But again, I always just tried to protect my sister, look after her. We definitely would go to clubs, though. I had a fake ID when I was younger. It wasn't a fake ID. It was a real ID of a girl that looked like me that I used. So I used her ID to get in. But I would only go. I wouldn't go to drink alcohol or anything like that. I liked dancing when I was younger. So me and my friends, my sister and my friend Chelsea and Dre, we would always go to the jukebox or, the Grad in Davis or different places, and we'd go dancing. So we loved going dancing when we were younger. That was our thing. So we did that a lot. We would go dancing, and I worked a lot. Eventually, once I stopped working at those jobs, I was working at Chevy's for a while off of Douglas Boulevard. So I did that job for a while as a to-go hostess. And then at that point, again, I didn't have a car at the time. I didn't have money for a car, so I would ride the bus. I paid for my bus pass, and I would ride the bus, and I paid for my own cell phone and my bubble pager, and I paid for my own clothes. I had to always buy my own things because we didn't have a lot of money, and that's obviously why I wanted to work also, so I could buy myself stuff. And it's hard growing up at Granite Bay High School. As you guys know, it's a very rich area and well-off kids, and everybody's coming to school with brand new Hummers and BMWs and really nice fancy cars and really nice clothes and all the name brand stuff, and I didn't have that, right? I didn't have a car, I didn't have the name brand clothes, so I'm trying to fit in where I can. I always kind of in high school was just nice to everybody, and I kind of knew everybody, and just I didn't have a specific friend group I would hang out with. I kind of hung out with all the misfits and all the people that didn't really have a friend group, and I was cool with everybody. I was nice to everybody. I always try to, again, treat people how you want to be treated. So I would hang out with the people that weren't so popular, and then the people that were popular, I'd still say hi to them and be cool with them too. So I never really had a cookie cutter friend group though. So I was always just cool with everybody. Again, as time went on, though, I didn't spend as much time with them my junior year and senior year because I was working so much. So I didn't really get that experience of high school like everyone else did, where they got to do all the fun things towards the end. The proms, I never went to any proms. I never got to experience that. I did build the floats with them every year, so that was always fun. I really enjoyed doing the floats. So I would do things like that. And even with sports, so I never got a chance really to do sports. So again, we didn't have the money to sign up for the sports. So I remember for my freshman year, I forged my mom's signature so I could do track and field. And there was a form to fill out when you didn't have as much money. So I filled all that out and I signed her name and forged her signature so I could do track and field. So that was the one sport I got to start doing. And I was really excited. I was doing shot put and discus. I was super strong and like I did a really good job. And then all of a sudden, that's when I broke my collarbone. So because I broke my collarbone, they still allowed me to be on the team, but I was the stat girl. So I got to go to the meets, but I had to just take the stats and stuff. So, oh, and I ran the 4x4. But that was sad because I started doing sports and then I stopped. So then I never really got back into it. Once I started working and I had a job, I never really did sports. So I always wanted to do sports. I think that's probably why I always like push my kids to do different sports. So I always want them to try different things to see if they like it. And I always encourage them and I financially make sure that they can do it. And I support them and I go to their different meets and tournaments and competitions and all of that, and I try to encourage them because that's the support I wanted, right? And that's what I was looking for as a child, that I never got. I guess you always kind of like overcompensate with what you didn't get, right? Even my kids, we had a conversation the other day and they're like, Mom, when I have kids, I'm never giving them a phone like you gave us. I'm never giving them screens like you gave us. My kid's gonna get a limit and have, a certain time they can watch the screens and they're not gonna play Grand Theft Auto and they're not gonna do the video games and, all these things. And I like you did, Mom. And I said, hey, I was just doing what I didn't have, right? So now you guys learned from what you had and now you can do what you think is right? So you saw that I overgave and I gave too much. So now you can do something different and peel it back a little bit, right? And make it right for you now that you see what you like or don't like or what works and doesn't work. So I thought it was a good conversation just so they can kind of realize what they want to have as when they are parents and what they want to do for their children and why I did what I did, right? And they know where it comes from, the different traumas that I went through and how it changes you, right? So, anyways, yeah, that was kind of my high school, what happened, and it kind of, like I said, my mom had kicked me out when I was 17, so once I was done with school, again, I wasn't fully done because I still had some missing credits, but once I was done with school, not going to school anymore, they didn't want me there anymore. My mom's boyfriend at the time, which is my sister's dad, who has since passed away. So they didn't want me there at the time, and they wanted their own little family. So they kicked me out. I moved back to Davis. My mom lined up a job for me with another one of her ex-boyfriends. So who lived in Davis, owned a restaurant in Davis, was a successful businessman. So she lined it up. I'm 17. She lined it up. He came and picked me up and took me to show me this new building he was getting for an office, and I was going to have my own office space. And then he told me he needed me to wear more professional clothes because I'm literally in overalls and a tube top. I'm 17, right? And so he was going to take me shopping to get more professional clothes, and then he's telling me all these different things I'm going to be doing. Then he takes me back to his house, and then he proceeds to tell me how you're going to be 18 soon. I want to take you to Hawaii in November for your birthday, your 18th birthday, and I want you to be my girlfriend. I was mortified because this man I'd known since I was little and was one of my mom's back and forth boyfriends, not the guy that had the trauma, not my abuser. This was another guy. So this other guy that I've known since I was little now is asking me to be his girlfriend and saying he's going to take me on a trip to Hawaii for my 18th birthday. I was so creeped out. And then he asks me not to tell my aunt, because he's bringing me back home to my grandpa's house where my aunt lives and my grandpa lives at the time. And he tells me not to tell my aunt and not to tell my mom what I said. I was so disgusted because I'm like, God, what is wrong with me? Why am I constantly getting attacked by all of my mom's boyfriends is so gross. Like, why do they like little girls? Like, it's so gross to me. Pedophilia in general is disgusting. Like, I don't understand what is wrong with these people's heads. Like, what is wrong for them to think that it's okay to have an attraction to a little kid, especially one that you've raised and you've taken care of? Like, that's so disgusting to me. Just, it's definitely a mental illness. It definitely, I mean, it says in the Bible what to do with them, so that's all I'm saying. um but anyways, I was disgusted. I told my aunt what happened, I told my mom what happened, and again, she called him, had some choice words with him, but still remained friends with him, still talked to him, still would reach out to him when she needed money and needed things, and he would help her. So it's just, it's gross to me. Super gross. But again, so I didn't have that job. I thought I had a job lined up. And then so my first job was when I was in Davis, when I was 17, was Chevron gas station. So I started working at Chevron gas station in Davis, and I worked there up until once I turned 18. I knew I wanted to work in like an office type of job. So that was the goal, was to be in some kind of an office job. So I had to wait until I turned 18 to work next door at the car dealership. So, and how I knew about the car dealership was working at the gas station. All of the guys from Honda as well as Toyota down the street would always come to the gas station. So they'd always come and buy snacks and drinks and lottery tickets and coffee and all the things. So they would come in and chat with me all the time. And they would always say, "Oh, Nicole, you should come work there when you turn 18. That's where all the pretty girls work," you know? And so they'd try to entice me to come work at the dealership. So I was always intrigued by it. So I waited till I turned 18, and then I went there. As soon as I turned 18, I went to Toyota first. I didn't get the best vibes from the people that were there, so I went to Honda after that. I applied still, but then I went to Honda right after that and walked over there. And I remember my friend Angela, she was at the window, and I walk up to the window and she says, "Wait right here, wait right here." And she runs to go get Nancy, my office manager, who was in a meeting with the owner, Doug. And she runs and gets Nancy. "Nancy, this is her, this is who we should hire." So she goes and pulls Nancy out of a meeting to come meet me. So I sit down with Nancy and had an interview, and she ended up hiring me on the spot. She just told me that they had to wait until they closed out the end of the year and that I would start in January. So January 2nd, 2002 is when I started at University Honda in Davis. So I love, love, love University Honda. They are my family. They're who I grew up with. I was there for almost 15 years. And I had all four kids there, married, divorced, went through all the things. They're my people. So I love all my people from University Honda. Doug Malinoff was an amazing owner, really great guy. Nancy Granrud, she was like my mom. She was the office manager. Angela used to be Angela Nichols, now Angela Lazzini, one of my best friends I met there. So I've had such good experiences at University Honda. I met a lot of really cool people. I was probably one of your finance managers if you ever bought a car from there. So, but yeah, I loved the experience. I loved working there. I loved all the people. Just such a great, great place and blessing. So again, I started working there. But I kept the job at Chevron. Again, I always would work 2 jobs and 3 jobs at a time and hustle, right? So I had the job at Chevron, and then I also had the job at Honda. So I was working both. When they hired me on, they hired me as basically I was working in the service department. I was answering phones, filing paperwork, writing up oil changes, helping the service advisors. So that was my first initial job. So I started doing that, and then they knew the cashier was leaving eventually. So I would do part-time cashier and kind of transitioned into that position and role. And then eventually they needed a full-time cashier. So I became full-time cashier. And then at that time, I was still working at Chevron. And then there was a time when my godmother had passed away, and her name is Barbara. So she's someone that I grew up in Davis with. I didn't really tell that part of the story. I'm sorry. And when I grew up in Davis, there was literally like only two black families in Davis, right? So it's predominantly white, Asian, Indian, and then there was a couple black families. So I was friends with both of them, and one of them was Monica, Maisha, Chucky, Rodney. They were my people. So we grew up with them, and Barbara, their mother, was like my mom. So she would take care of us and help out when my mom was busy or working or doing something. Barbara would look after us. Little Nicki, Johnny, everybody. So super cool people. Grew up with them in Davis. And Barbara was like my mom. So when she passed away, I was devastated, and I tried to get work off, and they wouldn't give me my shift off. So I literally took my shirt off and threw it, and I said, I quit. So I quit my job just so I could go to the funeral, because that was wrong. I didn't think that was right. So that's when I lost that second job. So I just was full-time now. I mean, I was already full-time, but I was just focusing on Honda. And then at the time, the Angela was in the, what was she doing? She was doing not accounts payable, receivable. She was doing DMV and contracts. So she was doing DMV and contracts at the time, and then she ended up moving over to the finance department. So when that position became available, I immediately applied for it, and I applied for DMV and contracts. And so they allowed me to do that. And so I was working that job. Again, when I was the cashier, I was pregnant with my first child. So I got pregnant at 18 years old. Again, I got this job at 18. So I was pregnant at 18 on birth control. I was taking the pill at the time, and that it was probably my fault, because there was times that I would forget the pill. So the next day I would take two. So it's not foolproof. Ladies beware, be careful. Again, I'm extra fertile too. So that's probably why. But, I got pregnant, right, on birth control. And when I met their dad, I had only known him maybe 3 months. So I didn't know him. We got together. It was very quick, very rushed, and I didn't really know who he was. And I ended up pregnant. I had already gotten my own apartment. So I had my first apartment that I had gotten prior to knowing I was pregnant. It was a 2-bedroom. Originally, I was going to have one of my coworkers was going to roommate with me for the second bedroom. Then when I found out I was pregnant, I said, sorry, you can't have the second bedroom now. I need it for my baby. And so my kid's dad ended up moving in with me, and so we could take care of the baby together and have a family. So that happened. And again, you definitely learn who somebody is over time, and there were lessons that I had to go through. And he was into music. He was a rapper, and rapped with Mac Dre, and I met Mac Dre. I went to Mac Dre's house and hung out with them, and he did, certain drugs and alcohol and things like that. So he wasn't the nicest to me. So we tried to work through things, and it was very difficult. But I had my son, and he would stay home and watch the baby, and I worked. And then I ended up doing a different kind of birth control. It was called the NuvaRing. So I'm like, oh, this is foolproof. I can't mess this up, because you don't accidentally forget to take a pill. So I did that perfectly, and I ended up pregnant again. And usually when I find out I was pregnant, I was already almost like 3 months pregnant when I would find out I'm pregnant. So, which was strange, because I'm still having a period and everything, but I ended up pregnant again. And that was a shocker. And one thing that was like super, super crazy, I had never told anybody about, because I don't believe in abortion. Again, I'm Christian. I have strong, conservative values, and I don't believe in abortion. But at that time, I was in not so great of a relationship and not feeling very good about things. And the thought actually crossed my mind about having an abortion when I was pregnant. And I always felt so guilty about that thought. And I remember when I had just had Mariah. my grandfather, right before he passed away. So he ended up having, my grandfather had open heart surgery. And what we didn't know about my grandfather was he was actually schizophrenic, and his whole life he was on medications and was completely normal. And I had no idea. And so when he had to get this heart surgery, he had to stop those meds. And so when he stopped those meds, he started going kind of crazy again, I guess. So he had the open heart surgery, and when he got out, nobody could really take care of him because he was, acting very crazy. And so they needed him to be monitored. So they had to bring him to like a home where they could monitor him and help him as he's healing through his surgery and getting through all this mental health issues. So while he was there, literally the day before he had passed away, he called my work, which he never does. He does not call me at my job. I don't even know how he knew the phone number, but he called me at my work, and I answered the phone, and he said, "Nicole, I just want to tell you I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you didn't get the abortion. You made the right decision." And I was like, oh my God. Like, I almost started bawling at that point. I didn't. I was just saying, "Thank you, Grandpa." And, I talked to him. I had a very good conversation with him, and he literally died the next day. But I'm thinking, to me, that was God talking to me through my grandfather, because I had so much guilt inside of me for even the thought of having an abortion. I so strongly don't believe in that, right? So it just felt good hearing that from my grandpa. I got that message from God through my grandfather before he passed away. So my grandfather told me how proud he was of me and how it was the right thing to do to not have the abortion. So that felt really good. But to rewind a little bit, so when I went from cashier to DMV contracts, I was working DMV and contracts for a while. Then the position became available for the finance manager position. So Mickey at the time, rest in peace, he was such a good guy. He was in the finance department, and he had gotten another job at a different Honda dealership. So he made sure to come tell me ahead of time before anybody knew that he was leaving, because he knew that I would want that job. So of course, because I have a child, at this time I'm pregnant. Nobody knows I'm pregnant yet. So I find out I'm pregnant with Mariah. Nobody knows. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to ruin my potential chances of getting into that department. I didn't want them to feel like I'd be a burden by being pregnant again. So I didn't tell anybody I was pregnant. So I knew that I wanted that position because I knew I needed to make more money for my family. And of course, as anybody knows, sales is where the money is, right? But normally you don't go from the business office to a finance manager position, right? You have to usually go through sales. Fortunately, Angela, the person that was in my position before me, kind of paved the way for me, being a woman from the business office going into finance. They couldn't really say no to me, right? Because she's already done it. But what I did was I went home that night and I wrote a 3-page a list of all the reasons why I'd be good for that position. And I came and I gave a copy to everybody the next morning, and I sold myself to everybody. So I immediately went to Nancy, my office manager, and I sold myself to her because obviously she's my boss. I wanted to tell her first. And she said, "I knew you were going to ask for it. I knew you were going to do this. You'd be great." So then I went to Doug Malinoff, the owner, and I shared it with him. And I might have went to Joe first, the GM. I can't remember if I went to the GM first or the owner, but I talked to Doug about it, went over all my reasons. One of my bullet points on the list was that I was moldable, right? So I would be tainted, being in the car business, being a salesperson at another dealership or another finance manager at another dealership. They have things that they do that where they're set in their ways that they might do something that you shouldn't do, and then they bring that to the dealership, and they have habits they shouldn't be doing. So I just let him know how I'm moldable. You can teach me exactly what you want to teach me, how you want me to do it, and of course Doug loved that. And so he thought it was a great idea. When I told Joe about it, the GM at the time, he said, "No, my gut's telling me this is not a good idea." And I said, "No, just give me a chance. I know I can do it." And he's like, "I don't think you can do it." And I said, "I know I can do it. Just give me a chance. Give me the opportunity." And he kept saying no he didn't want to do it. So him and Doug talked, and Doug trumped him and said, let's let her try. So they put me in there part-time. And again, remember, I'm pregnant. Nobody knows I'm pregnant. So I literally like sucked in my stomach, my pregnancy, until I was 6 months pregnant. So finally, I was in the position already. I was working. I was doing a great job. Again, only part-time though. So I'm doing DMV contracts part-time still, and I'm doing the finance manager position part-time. So financially, I was bringing in more income part-time in F&I than the other two people that were in there full-time. So of course they gave me the position. And it made more sense because Angela was really good as a director. So she became the finance director, leading us both. And it was a great team. So it was solid after that when we had our director and we had our two finance managers. So it was a great team after that, and we were making a killing. So obviously once they gave me the full-time position, we were making a killing in finance, just doing really great for the store. And when I was 6 months pregnant, finally Angela had mentioned, she's like, are you pregnant? And I was like, yes, finally. And I stuck my stomach out and I stopped sucking in, and like my stomach just like stuck right out. And all of a sudden I just told everybody, because I felt like I was already in finance. I was making good income for them. I was doing good. Like they can't be mad at me, right? They can't take it away from me, right? So, and I found out later, I actually feel like I did better in sales pregnant than when I wasn't. So it's like every time I was pregnant, when you're in sales, people just are, I guess it's more trusting and they listen to you more, and I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, so I was full-time finance now at that point. Loved it, loved finance. I just love being able to help people. So for me, it's like I believe in all the products, right? So for me to believe in the products and then present that to the customers and honestly believe in them and like genuinely believe in them, the customers can feel that. They know that I'm being honest, right? And I'm really recommending things that I would get personally. So it just feels good to help people. And so I loved finance. I love helping people. I love helping people protect their investment and figure out exactly what they need for their vehicles. So that part I just loved. I love finance. So, and I think that's what was easy to transition into this role, because now I'm helping the dealerships who are helping the people, right? So I get to teach them how to help the people ultimately and do what I was doing when I was helping the people. So it just feels good. It feels good to help the dealerships, do that as well and teach them what I did and how I would help my customers. But yeah, so that was kind of my way into F&I. So I was there again almost 15 years, and then I was there a long time. So again, my first two pregnancies, when I was pregnant the second time, I ended up leaving him when I was 6 months pregnant. So I finally had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. And there was a lot of verbal abuse, not really physical, but a lot of verbal abuse. So my kids are mixed. All of my kids are black and white. And my ex would say comments in front of his friends while I'm pregnant with our second child. White cracker A, B. So I'm not trying to cuss on here. So he would call me a white cracker, A word, B word in front of his friends and just treat me really bad. And there was a lot of verbal abuse, and I didn't deserve that, and I knew I didn't deserve that, and I knew I deserved better. And so I eventually packed up all my stuff when he was gone, and I moved out. And I stayed at my mom's house temporarily for 3 months while my name was on a waiting list for a different apartment. And I was able to get another apartment after that. My daughter was born, so I was a single mom now, 2 kids in diapers. Super scared, working as a finance manager. So I was making good money, but still just scared being a single mom and doing it by myself. And again, had a couple of relationships here, relationships there. It was hard because trying to date somebody when you have a brand new baby and another child in diapers, like that's difficult to have to put on to somebody, right? It's not quite fair, but it has to be the right person. But again, was in a few different relationships. One of them lasted a little bit longer, and they always end up doing something, cheating. This particular guy would sleep with married women, and I found all kinds of different women he was meeting at the park, and just lots of cheating involved. And so I left him. And so again, 2 kids, single mom, but making great money. Bought my first house when I was 22 years old. So I bought a house in Natomas. I had 3 cars. I'm making, 6 figures. I'm doing great. Have my kids. Then I met my ex-husband. So I think I will pause there. So we'll pause on the second set of children. So for the next episode. But that is where we're at today. Again, I really appreciate all your guys' support and just following me on my journey and everything that I've been through. I really do appreciate it. I am going to read some comments. Again, this was all tea time, right? So we don't have specific tea time, but we'll go over comments. We'll take off the makeup. We'll do the makeup off removal routine, and then we'll continue on episode 3 with the rest. So I don't have my normal makeup wipes with me today. My daughter borrowed them and took them with her. So I have these that I just got from CVS. They are age-defying towelettes. So we'll use those. Helps skin look smoother, brighter, and more refined. It has retinol, collagen, and vitamins A, C, and E. So we'll use these to take off the makeup. Again, I'm going to try to multitask and read comments while I'm taking off makeup. And then I'll do the rest of my routine. Again, there's no comments on the actual episode itself, which you guys are more than welcome to comment or ask questions on this one for the following one. But I do have some additional comments on some of the shorts. I realized when I was reading comments last time, I didn't name the title of the short, so my apologies there. So you guys could follow along and go back if you wanted to read my comments to the comments already existing. So I'll at least read those, and I'll make sure I read the title too this time. So first one, we're going to remove and talk. So hopefully this works. The first short is Story of My Life in a Nutshell. So first comment is from @mama-no-no3652. She says, used to work in an outpatient mental health clinic. Read a lot of case histories. I can honestly say that the vast majority of those clients' mental health issues stemmed from perverse family dynamics. It was amazing to me that they were able to carry on in life after the depth of trauma they endured. I hear you. Wishing you healing. Stay strong. I 100% agree. There's definitely the next episode that we're going to go over is also pretty crazy. The trauma that my children had to endure from meeting my ex-husband and who he brought into my home. So we'll go over that on the future episode. But it is so true. Most people that are in these mental health clinics have had trauma, have been abused. It's so sad how much abuse has caused just this snowball effect. And then honestly, it also has caused a lot of the perverseness, has caused people to maybe think that they like one sex over the other, just because maybe they were molested by a guy, and then later on in life this little boy thinks that that's what they're supposed to be doing and they want to go with a boy now. Or maybe they were molested by a girl and now they're traumatized by women, and so they end up going for a boy now, so they want to go with either the opposite or the same depending on what's happened. and transpired. But I really do think that it affects you. So they say that when you're traumatized like that, from the age of 0 to 6 is when you're becoming who you're going to become, right? So if trauma is happening to you from the ages of 0 to 6, that's going to mess up who you actually were supposed to be. And it's going to change the trajectory of your life completely. So it definitely affects you. I've noticed with my own children, it has affected them. And again, we'll go over more of that story on the next episode. But it is heartbreaking, and it is something that I've had to deal with. And it was rough. It was a rough time period. And it's still stuff I'm going through to this day, still have to deal with. So it's something that doesn't go away, unfortunately. But yeah, it's pretty sad. Thank you for your comment. At bman7300, sounds like you've adjusted fairly well. Your story sounds familiar. Be proud of what you have accomplished and the fact that you're still fighting. I'm proud of you. Thank you. That's very sweet. I'm proud of you too. I appreciate that comment. Let's go to the next one. So the next short is the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I posted that little snippet on the Modern Exodus, just explaining, what it was for men. It's a men's group, so I definitely highly recommend you guys go back and watch that to get the information on the men's group. We have Aziza Salam 5749. That's so interesting. The Modern Exodus. Is this a new movement? So, I mean, it's kind of a movement in a way. It's really just a men's group that you're able to join. So all men can join. But they just focus on supporting men just become better men and better leaders and providers and role models and husbands and fathers and all that. So I think it's important to have men join together and support one another to make sure their mental health is good and they're able to be good leaders. We need that for sure. So thank you for your comment. The next short is called Listening to God. So first comment is at Dual Sport Outdoors. Unfortunately, I don't think he likes me much. Everything I ever prayed for went the exact opposite way. Well, I don't believe that. I believe God loves everybody. You just got to keep praying, keep asking for what you need. And again, if you're not getting what you're asking for, it's probably for a reason. You're probably not at a good point to have those blessings at that point, right? Something maybe needs to change before that blessing comes in. So you have to look at your own life and what you're doing and make sure that you're doing all the right things and being a good person and following the 10 Commandments and don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, be a good person, and then just continue to pray and ask for what you need, and God's going to answer. Like, you just gotta stay consistent with your prayer, for sure. Thank you for your comment. And the next one I have at Christian Alvarez 5780. Well, now I'm hooked. God works in mysterious ways. Reminded me of the notion that if you pray for patience, you lose your keys. Sometimes we get the opportunity for what we pray for. That is so true. That is such a good notion too. It's so true. When you ask for patience, you'll lose your keys, or something will happen where you have to exercise your patience, and God tests you to see, how are you going to act? You said you wanted this. Let's see how you act. Let's see what you actually do when you're under pressure, right? So I love that. Thank you for your comment. The next one we have is, it's a short called Story of My Life in a Nutshell. So we have at Demi Armis 9103. She says, I have this shirt. It's my favorite. So she's speaking about the black shirt that I was wearing. I absolutely love it too. It's a great shirt. It's super comfy. Thank you for your comment. And then at Christian Alvarez 5780 with a heart. Thank you. Appreciate you. And then at Aziza Salam 5749. Loving yourself all natural. So thank you. So I think I was speaking in that clip about just being natural and my hair, being natural, my nails, and taking makeup off and all that good stuff. So thank you for your comment. The next one is titled Trying to Be More Natural. So let's see, we have at Christian Alvarez 5780, fresh face equals beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. All natural. At Dual Sport Outdoors, personally I prefer the no makeup look, especially with bright colored eyes like yours and my wife's. The brighter eyes don't need anything to help make them pop and draw attention. Thank you. I appreciate that. And your wife has beautiful eyes, and so does your new baby boy. All right, and let's see. I think there's a couple more comments. The next short is called, let's see. That one is Trying to Be More Natural. This one, what's to come in episode 1. So it was an intro into my episode 1, and it just says, at Dual Sport Outdoors, people have a short attention span. A musical intro is often going to kill those few seconds you have to catch their attention. It's better to just dive into the subject when you're a newer channel, according to the channel growth channels I watch. Yes, great advice. Thank you. It's something I'm working on. So I know the intro was way too long in the first one. Even my episode 1, it's still probably a little bit too long. So on this episode, I'll probably shorten it even more and just have a little tiny clip. And then at the end, if you guys want to hear the full song, I'll have the full song at the end. So thank you for your comment there. And the next one is Being Genuine, Being Authentic, Being Me. That's the title of the clip. We have at Aziza Salam 5749. She says, you developed your hardworking ethic during those years. Most definitely did. Thank you for your comment. Next short is called Most of My Childhood I Don't Remember. And we have... Oh, this one was a tearjerker. Okay, so from at Christine Helm 6782. It's not just when you're a child. Whenever you suffer a big shift/trauma in your life, your brain blocks it out for sanity. It's called self-preservation. When we lost our son at the age of 17 from a freak car accident 8 years ago, there was over 800 people at his funeral. I only remember seeing him laying there. Then my mind goes blank. It took bits and pieces of my life with that time of memory, not just losing my child. Of course, that was the catalyst. The only sad part about me losing my memory of that point in time is that apparently a lot of people got up at the church and had some really good Dominic stories, my son's name, and I would have liked to hear. Then again, I do thank God for not remembering a lot of that time, because we're not supposed to go before our children. They're supposed to bury us. Oh my gosh, my heart broke for her when I read that. I'm so sorry for your loss. Nobody should have to bury their children before them. It's such a sad story, and it's so true though. When you go through trauma, your brain, you have that mechanism to block it out. God protects you to not remember those things for a reason, right? So it's a good blessing in disguise, but it's still sad to go through all of the trauma. And my heart goes out to you and your family, Christine. There was another comment that was very sweet that someone else had written. Let's see if I can find it. Somebody had commented on her post, and I don't know how to find it. 2 replies. Sorry guys, I don't see the comment. There was another comment on that comment, so if you want to go back and read it, there's another really nice comment somebody else had written in response to her comment. And let's see, lastly, there's no comments on that one. Okay, so that's it for comments. I am going to finish. So I got all of the makeup off. I think I got it all. Okay, so I'm going to continue with my routine. The pads that I use. So QUIA, Korean Beauty, the No More Pore Pads. And normally I do, I'm supposed to be filming on Sundays, right? I don't know if you guys can see the calendar back there, but as you can see, it is the 29th today, so it actually is Monday. I ended up going to Southern California this weekend. So I have a dealership, Paradise Chevrolet, shout out to them. They're a great dealership in Ventura. So that's one of my stores. And I went out there to go see them and do some training. So I actually drove out there this time with my younger two kids, my 15-year-old and 17-year-old. I actually used my new travel company, my travel club that I'm part of. I used my elite booking website. So I was able to save a ton of money on the hotels. I booked for my Ventura trip. And then I also booked after Ventura, we went to Hollywood and we stayed there at a really nice hotel, which was really cool because it was the BET award weekend. So there's like so many cool things going on and parties, and Lauryn Hill was at our hotel at the pool there, which was really cool. Anyway, so I got to save a ton of money on my hotel, both my hotels. And then also we got discounted tickets for Universal Studios. So I went there too using my travel club. So shout out to Elite once again, which I'll play the promo afterwards too, so you guys can watch that if you would like to learn more about the travel club or be part of it or come join me in traveling. Definitely click on the QR code or the link and you guys can learn more. But yeah, I saved a ton of money. But yeah, so we went to SoCal this weekend. Ventura first, stayed there, handled the stuff with the dealerships, and we drove to Hollywood, stayed there. We went to Universal Studios for the first time, which was really fun. We thought the Fast and Furious ride was going to be open, but it's not quite open yet. So they did have test dummies on it, so I think it should be open soon. But because we got the discounted tickets with the buy one, get one free day, we will get to go out another day and plan another trip out there. So once the Fast and Furious ride is open, we will go back for sure. So we had a great time out there. I am going to do this one, frankincense. So my point in telling that story was I didn't film on Sunday like I was going to. So my little sister, Carissa, ended up coming over on Sunday, and I hadn't seen her in quite a while, so I wanted to hang out with her. So we kind of hung out poolside at the hotel and had a good time. And I didn't want to stop that to have to film, so I just decided to drive back home today from Southern California and just film tonight back here at home. So it is technically nighttime, so I am gonna do the eye mask this time. Last time I didn't do it because it wasn't quite nighttime, so I will do those since I am gonna be getting ready for bed soon. Okay, so I did the frankincense essential oil balm. I will do the Dr. Malaxin. I usually just do that on these deeper wrinkles here. And the crow's feet wrinkles. I have a little bit of a sunburn, so you can see it kind of on my face. But we were poolside yesterday, so bound to happen with my pale skin. So you can see my red nose. Okay. I also will sometimes use this, I just started using this, so I had a friend recommend it, and I actually really like the cocoa butter stick. So, I mean, cocoa butter you can put for anything, especially when you have a sunburn. It's really good. So I will put a little bit of this on my sunburn, but you can like rub this thing everywhere. But it's good with the sunburn so you don't peel, and it goes away quicker and heals. And then I also have the cocoa butter chopstick. which I like, especially when you have sunburned lips like I do. I love the way cocoa butter smells. So good. Okay, I'm like all greased up now. Okay, so that's done. I'll get these guys, so you put one on each side. It comes with this little like plastic kind of applicator to separate them so you can pull them out. Definitely a little over on time, so my apologies, guys. I want to try to stick to an hour episode, so my apologies for going over time. So you just put those on here like that. And this is supposed to be really good for your under eyes. It's got 24 karat gold in it. And I'll leave these on all night. So they just go right under your eye there, like that. And that is it. So once again, my makeup removal routine. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. It's Nicki B, the host of Explore with Nicki B. I just wanted to come on and go over our current sponsor of the show, Elite. I wanted to do a quick promo and plug for them. They are who's making this happen. So I appreciate them. I'd like to start by sharing their mission statement. So what is Elite? Elite's mission is to elevate everyday life by making travel more accessible and creating a path towards financial independence. We exist to inspire people to experience more of the world, live on their own terms, and design a life they love. So Elite is pretty much an invitation-only travel and lifestyle community. So I am part of it. I'd love for you to be part of it so you can come travel with me, go on some fun trips together. I don't know if you guys currently travel right now. If you're currently traveling, it'll definitely save you a ton of money because, as you know, using things like Expedia Group, Booking Holdings, you think you're getting a savings, but in all actuality, there's probably another 65% savings there in over a million plus hotels that Elite is able to offer you. I know with Booking Holdings they made $26.9 billion last year, and then the Expedia Group $14.7 billion. So that shows if they're making that much money, that shows how much room there is for savings. So it does allow you to save money. It is a travel club that you're part of. What's nice about being part of the travel club, so not only do you get the up to 65% off on the hotels, over a million plus hotels, you also get savings on car rentals, resort weeks. There's specific Elite excursions that they'll post that you're able to be part of, which is really cool. I'll show you some upcoming ones that I'm going to be joining. There's cruises, there's group travel rates. So if you're getting married and you have a big large group that you need to get group rates on, or maybe a 50th wedding anniversary is coming up and you have a big group that you're taking somewhere, you're able to get discounted rates on it. Meeting spaces, if you're going to rent those out, airport lounges you can save money on. So tons of ways to save money throughout the year with your current travel. If you're not currently traveling and you'd like to travel more, that's another reason why it makes sense to do this. So the cost of the actual membership is $175 a month. So with that, though, you're getting the discounted hotels, you're getting the Elite Escapes. Those are those week-long trips that they have in different places like Dubai, and there's one coming up in Thailand that I'm going to be going to. I'll show that real quick. Also, there's a cruise they just went on, trips to Jamaica, things like that. You also get portal access to go online and book everything yourself and see all your savings, as well as the discounted airport lounges, and then the signature trips. So by paying that $175 every single month and paying your dues, it's almost like a savings account in a way. So me being a single mom of 4 kids, I don't always have a lot of money to set aside for myself to do a nice fun trip that is well deserved, right? We need to treat ourselves. So this kind of allows it. It's a way to, it's almost like a little travel savings account. So you pay your dues each month and it gets tucked away where you can't touch it. And then at the end of the year, after 12 months, you're able to choose a signature trip, which is a week-long trip. And there's, over 50 plus places to choose from. And you don't have to just go overseas. There's local stuff too that you can do with your trip. But it allows you to go on a trip once a year on top of being part of the elite community and traveling with all of us, to all the different places. So the one coming up that I'm going to for sure be going on is the Thailand trip. So I'll put it here on the screen. That one is 8 days and 7 nights, round trip airport transfers for stress-free arrival and departure. You get private transportation for all the excursions, no guesswork, just smooth transitions. $150 resort credit per person. Food and drink, you're getting 3 days of breakfast, 4 curated meals across standout venues. So we have lunch at the beachfront restaurant, toes in the sand, dining with panoramic sea views, the Thai tasting menu at the Blue Mango, elevated local flavors in a luxe setting, lunch at Phuket's Floating Village, cultural immersion meets culinary delight, dinner at the kitchen table, refined ambience, and signature dishes. So all of that for $650. So, and then if you minus out the $150 credit, it's really only costing you $500. So you can't really beat that, right? So I'm definitely going to be going on that trip. Another one coming up is, and hopefully you guys can all join me, it's going to be my divorce party. So I'm officially divorced, finalized December 5th. So this trip is actually December 10th through December 14th. So we're definitely going to party. So come join me and be part of the club. It's going to be in the Dominican Republic. I'll put that on the screen as well. It's 5 days, 4 nights at the Twin Sands. So it has the accommodations and transportation included, food and drink, like we talked about before. This one has all-inclusive with meals, snacks, and the premium open bar. 24/7 room service, in-room bar with mixers, restocked daily, and a $500 per room resort credit. So you are getting a $500 credit there as well. So some of the activities, these are the ones I'm looking forward to. Unlimited golf green fees. So that's the Greg Norman course. We have the Elite Excursion. That's a sail and snorkel party cruise. We have the Elite VIP private welcome reception, Elite VIP farewell dinner event, and the Elite Experiences concierge on site. So all of that is going to be included. Definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, being part of the club allows you to come on the trips. It allows you to have that savings set aside, and then being able to get the discounts you normally would have done if you were traveling. The travel industry alone is huge. So if you want to do the business side of things too and make money and travel as well, you can do that. The travel industry in comparison, like I'm part of the automobile industry, right? So the automobile industry right now is $2.6 trillion. So if you look at travel's an $11.7 trillion industry. And in the next 5+ years, there's going to be trillions more, right? So if you want to be part of that side of things, making an income, Elite allows that as well. So if you'd like to do the business part of things, let me know. I can get you linked with somebody on the team to be part of that. But there is a really good compensation plan if you're wanting to do that side of things. And or just come travel with me, be my travel buddy. So I'll put my QR code link up here if you'd like to sign up and or do the business part of things as well. So yeah, that's Elite in a nutshell. Thank you so much. Bye.
There's a quiet power humming underneath your skin, a fire wrapped in softness, a cathedral held within. You work behind the curtain while the world demands the stage, but the depth of what you carry could fill 1,000 pages. You've been searching for spaces in between, and the cosmos keeps on whispering things you've always seen. You were made of fire and mercy, truth and tender grace. With a heart that reads the room before you've seen a face. The universe is holding what your hands cannot contain. Every wound you turn to wisdom, every loss became your gain. You love with open honesty, no armor, no disguise. You crave a soul who matches yours, who meets you in the eyes. You balance like a dancer on the edge of give and take, and the right one will adore the art that only you can make. You've been given more than asking, that's the pattern in your bones. But the tide is finally turning, you don't have to walk alone. You were made of fire and mercy, truth and tender grace. With a heart that reads the room before you've seen a face. The universe is holding what your hands cannot contain. Every wound you've turned to wisdom, every loss became your gain. There's a dreamer in your bloodline, something ancient, something true. You can sense the things unspoken, feel what others never knew. Your ambition hums in silence, building kingdoms in your mind. And the legacy you're weaving is the most enduring kind. Don't let the noise distract you from the vision burning bright. You're closer than you've ever been to stepping in your light. You were made of fire and mercy, truth and tender grace. With a heart that reads the room before you've seen a face. The universe is holding what your hands cannot contain. Every wound you've turned to wisdom, every loss became your gain. Every scar became a story, every tear became a guide. Now the cracks are feeling golden where you no longer hide. You're not broken, you're becoming. Every ending keeps the next door running. So breathe deep and trust your